Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Ad America with me, Ariel, as your e-guide today. And today we will be having avoid the most common mistakes in your US application essay. And in order to start our event today, I would like to introduce you our Education USA at America advisor, Santika Salim. To Kak Santika, the stage is yours.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining our event tonight. And thanks, Ariel, for introducing me. If you're not new today in Education USA event in America, then you probably know what this event will be about, right? We will talk about essay. And I'm going to go really quickly on the presentation because we will have in-person quick essay review today. So unfortunately, it will be exclusively only for the in-person audience. And we have a few in-person audience today who are interested. So thank you so much for your time. And if you're joining via Zoom, don't worry too much about not getting the essay review because I will be letting you know how you can book for another session through the Zoom or in person for a later date, okay? And if you're still on your way to America, then you can join us very, very soon. So we will start the in-person quick essay review at around 7:30. That's a plan, right? So you still have time to commute here. All right, let me just squeeze this in. Whoops, my bad. There we go. This should be, okay, there you go. All right, so avoid the most common mistakes in your US application essay. I will be sharing on, the items that I've seen a lot on the errors and on the not recommended parts, but this is kind of like very general. So you have to be able to see it from case by case perspective as well. So it's not like when I put it here, then it's guaranteed that it's wrong or you will be not accepted by the university that you're applying to, okay? All right. Okay, so if you're new, I'm going to tell you about what Education USA is. We are a U.S. Department of State network over 400 international student advising centers in more than 170 countries. So that means we are all over the world and that you can find us pretty much in any country that you're watching us from, if you're not watching us from Indonesia. And in Indonesia alone, we have 6 centers, and I'll let you know about it really soon. So this network essentially promotes the U.S. higher education to students around the world by offering you accurate and comprehensive current information about the higher education in the United States. So essentially, we are just helping any international student in that country to study in the United States. Oh, all right. So I think my Zoom audience will not be able to see this. Apologize for this. Let me go to, I think I did the share screen just now. Okay. Okay, let's go to the Zoom and then do the share screen. Right. Got it. Okay, so we are here. And yep, you didn't miss anything. I just started the first slide, okay? Yeah, we have 400 international student advising centers scattered around in 170 countries plus. So that makes us kind of a global network. And you can trust us that we are free of charge anywhere you find Education USA. And all of the services and the events are free of charge as well. Okay. And this is our services. I would like to let you know that these are the 5 steps and you don't have to join us from the step 1. So a lot of our advices actually started in the 3rd step to complete your application. And today we are focusing on the 3rd step as well, which is the essay part that you have to submit for your US application. Okay, so step 1 is essentially research your options, meaning that you need to know your program, the program that you want, and also the US universities that you are targeting to apply to. Without this, we will be having a hard time to help you because then we don't know your goal yet. So that makes it your homework to spend more time and effort to essentially just research on what you are going to do after you graduate or you get your master or your PhD degree or even your undergraduate degree. Okay. Step 2 is financing your studies, meaning if you're looking for scholarship or you are thinking to pursue any scholarship opportunities and you don't know your options, you can come in here and then we can discuss about it. Okay. Third one is complete your application for the US universities. And all of you guys know that if you're not new towards this whole thing that you want to do, right? You will need essay, CV, resume, letter of recommendations, TOEFL, IBT, or IELTS, or any English proficiency test, or GRE or GMAT, depending on your program. And also your transcript, of course, right? So those are the things that are typical that you need to, you have to submit. So you need to submit your best application so that you can get the best opportunity to get accepted. So we are here to help you tweak on those stuff that you need to submit. Of course, we are not going to edit your letter of recommendations because those are supposed to be private. Those are supposed to be confidential. So that's that, but we can give you, tips on how you can get the best letters that you can get from your recommenders or your referees. And for the essays and CV and resume, you can come into Education USA, not only in Education USA at America, but all Education USA Indonesia that I will let you know in a minute for a review session. And I'm talking about kind of unlimited review sessions, so you don't have to come with the perfect draft because you can come in twice, like 3 times, 4 times, depending on how many times you need it. So yes, and everything's free of charge. I know you're looking at me like, everything's free. Yes, everything's free. And the step 4 is when you get accepted to any US universities and you are confused on what to do next, right? And of course, you need a student visa to go to the States and study there. So we will be giving you the step-by-step on how you can apply for your student visa. And it's not scary. So you don't have to be, thinking of what are the possibilities that you get rejected and everything. It's pretty easy. You just need to follow the steps. Make sure you complete the data that is correct. So you don't want to have any error in that application, right? And come in for the interview because nobody can replace you for that. And lastly, it's the pre-departure orientation on the step 5. We call it Prepare for Your Departure. It's an annual event where we do invite the alumni, we invite the current student and the successful advisees who are going in that year, going to the States in that year. But essentially, all of our events are open to the public and it's free of charge anyway. So even if you're not sure yet about going to the States or not, then you can come to the pre-departure orientation just to see, how much, how many things, what are the things that you need to prepare mentally, emotionally, financially, everything else, if you're going to the States. So you don't have to, decide spot on that you have to go to the States, okay? But that's a good place to start because some people do go to the pre-departure orientation just to see how, how demanding it is if you want to go to the States. And if you're ready, then you can go back to the step 1, step 2, or 3 with us here. We are ready anytime you're ready. And in Indonesia, we have 6 centers, total of 6 advisors right now. We are looking forward to expand this, of course. We have 2 centers in Jakarta, one in the US Embassy with Mas Iqbal, and one here in at America Pacific Place Mall, Jakarta. If you have never been here, it's an amazing place, so you need to come in at least once in your lifetime. So yes, my name is Santika, if you are new here. And I'm the advisor here for the Education USA at America. And in Surabaya, we are in Universitas Erlangga Unair with Mbak Ambar. We are also in Malang in Universitas Muhammadiyah with Mas Zaki. In Makassar, we are in Universitas Fajar with Kak Cendani. Last but not least, we are also in Banda Aceh, Universitas Islam Negeri UIN Araniri with Lilis. So if you know anyone who wants to study in the States, but they don't know how to, get the access of Education USA or like Jakarta is too far for you, then you can access these other centers. And I'm going to share with you how you can access them. So this is the Education USA Indonesia, the whole 6 centers, 6 advisors, schedule on the calendly.com/educationusa Indonesia. You can book any advisor schedule that fits you, but I would recommend to stick with one advisor at a time because it will be so confusing for you and the advisor to keep on repeating the same information. Okay? So save this one, just take a picture or screenshot if you need it, and you can access it anytime you need it, okay? All right, so for full information and future events, you can go to educationusa.state.gov. This is also where you can learn about what is Education USA essentially and all of the events and centers around the world. If you're really curious, like, is everything really free? Then yes, you can go to the website and check that out. And also here in this Education USA at America Center, we are specifically more updated on the at america.or.id/educationusa website. And if you scroll down to the bottom, you will be able to see the testimonial, which will encourage you, and also the future events that's going to happen. Okay. So I'm going to let you know very briefly on our upcoming events, which is the quick GRE preparation. We started this last Saturday, so November 12th, and then we will have that in every Saturday. So that will be November 12th, 19th, 26th, and also December 3rd, 10th, and 17th. So total of 6 sessions, and it will be split evenly between the quant and the verbal section. And you can see that the facilitators are really qualified to teach in each section. So it will be at 11 a.m. until 1:30 p.m. And you can get a chance to win the GRE test voucher. And I'm talking about the full GRE test here that valued at $205. And that's a big deal if you want to apply to the US universities and you have to submit your GRE. Okay, so that's a great support that we can provide you, but there are TNC to follow. So just go to the website, atamerica.or.id, and then find this event page. You will be able to find the part 1, part 2, part 3 on top of the quick GRE preparation only. So just go check them out and they will have each of the TNC there. It will be the same TNC. So don't worry about, like part 1 is different, part 2 is different. Nope, everything's the same. So you just need to take a look and understand them. And if you have any question, you can email us and ask that question. Okay. All right. So that's that. We will start with the, presentation, and then later the in-person essay. And I'm going to let you know that probably will start at 7:30. So if you're here for the in-person essay review and you haven't get your queue number, please have your queue number and then send the soft copy to jakarta.atamerica@educationusa.org. And or if you bring your hard copy, you don't have to email it anymore. So the choice is yours. Okay. May I know how many are going to do the essay review with me today? Okay, all of you guys. Wonderful. Okay, so I'll start with the very quick presentation. Avoid the most common mistakes in your US application essay. And I'm talking about frequently, so these are the things that I frequently see in essay reviews that I've done in the past almost 4 years. So I hope that it helps you. But of course, this is not a guarantee that when you have this in your essay, you're bound to get rejected. It's not like that, okay? Because I'm putting things here as general as possible so that you can relate to it, but it's not specific to your case, not specific to your experience, not specific to your sentences and everything else, okay? So take this by the grain of salt, and I don't want you to be too strict on yourself, and you can come in for essay review with me anyways, okay? All right, so I'm going to give the overview first. There are 6 things that I want to categorize, the most common mistakes. I don't want to overwhelm you, but these are the top 6 that I think you will need to check first before you come in for, a more in-depth essay review with me. Usually it will be at least an hour, and you can book that through the calendly.com/educationusa AT America, specific to the center, not the Indonesian one. Okay, So first one is the research. You need to go to the official US university websites or its application portal directly to see the prompt, the question, um, the things that they ask for. Things like no longer than 3 page. That you can find only from the US university websites directly, and if not, inside of the portal of the application itself. So you cannot just take that from somewhere else, right? Because if you're applying to University A, then it could be different from University B. Okay. The approach. So each individual is unique. I don't want you to fit into others' experience. And I will kind of like explain more in depth about each of the 6 items, but these are like the overview that I want you to think about. Like you need to approach it from your own experience, not from what other people say. So if you're like, looking for samples or template online, that's not a good idea. Okay. Third one is the general content. You need to have facts and figures. Figures. Those are recommended. Not a must, but recommended. So you can just present something more factual, more in depth, and not only just your opinion. Because you can have lots of opinion, but a lot of people can also not agree with you. So in order for people to be, convinced that it's true, you of course need to provide some proof, right? And the easiest one is to provide the facts and figures from anywhere. That's very, very solid. So for example, the World Bank or the World Health Organization, for examples, okay? Next is going to be weak phrases. This is very important to establish your confidence and, assuring the admission committee that you are confident that you can be successful. So that's important. If you are not sure about your own success or your ability, how would other people would be able to be sure about that? Okay. So it has to start from your confidence in the essay. The fifth one is the repetition. This is a very, very common mistakes where a lot of people keep on, just circling around that one same topic with different words, with different sentences, but essentially you're talking about the same thing. Okay. And it confuses or distract your reader. So I don't recommend that. But if you come in for the essay review with me, you already know this. I do a lot of highlights and scratches that if I see repetition. So yep, that's why you come in for reviews, right? And the last one is the time. So if you have a tight deadline, it's fine, but it's not for everybody. So for example, a lot of people have this difficulty working under pressure or tight deadline, but some other people will work better if they have this adrenaline rush, of the deadlines really close and everything. So it's not for everybody. It's not for people who have constraint in their English proficiency level. So I would give it back to yourself better. If you think your English is good enough, it's proficient, you're good in writing in English, and you come in 2 weeks before your deadline and you can get the slot to do the review with me or any other EducationUSA advisors, then that's fine. But typically 2 weeks is not going to be enough. 1 month is really, really tight. I would actually recommend at least 3 months because especially during this season, like I call it the high season, meaning it's when the deadlines are piling up, right? US universities have this period of deadlines that I will explain later. So that's that. And so this is before the writing. So these are the most common mistakes. The first one is not researching the prompt or the questions and other details. So you need to know what the question is before you can start actually writing or answering, right? So usually a lot of people will just, just Google up like, oh, essay, and then just write essay, right? But they don't know what to write in their essay because they don't research the prompts or the question or how many page or the words limit. If you don't have these details and then you jump into writing one, it's fine. But most of the time you will have to, revise a lot of things like major revision. And then research on samples, online videos of people who shared what they wrote in their essay and led them to get accepted to this and that university. It's nice of them to share, of course, but I wouldn't recommend any of my advices or all of my advices to watch them because it will create a sense of false standard where, of course, after you watch the video, you're inspired, right? You want to write something like what they wrote so that you can get into the school that they went to. But then when you're writing, you're like, I think she said or he said this. He or she wrote this in the essay. How do I write that? But I don't have the experience. And you're stuck, right? You cannot write anything that you never done before, but that person have done in the past. So you are creating your own false standard and you cannot continue writing something that's from your experience, which is unique to yourself. And sometimes it's actually, it really depends on the person who read it, but sometimes it's much more interesting or much more unique or rare compared to the person who shared their experience that you watch, that you focus so hard on, okay, I need to write something like that. Oh, that person went to volunteer in Africa and I did not. That's one of the examples that my advisee came to me and I'm like, why are you so fixated on, writing certain things like this? And he said, oh, I watched this video that they wrote something like that. And I think I have to have something like that to get accepted to that school. And I'm like, no, because that's that person, not you. So this whole, watching those videos and everything and, researching the samples, template, it's okay if you can turn off your expectations when you're writing, but it's really hard to do that. So let's not go there. Okay. If you haven't do it, don't do it. Trust me, you don't need it. Waited until very few months left or even weeks before the deadline to start writing, because the whole idea of having drafts is so that you can keep on improving your essay and submitting only the best version that you are very confident and that everybody thinks that's the best of what you can showcase in the essay. So if you only have a very short amount of time, that will limit your ability to actually show the best version. Okay, not outlining your topic ideas or key points. This will lead you to repeat a lot of things and then jumping from one to another topic. So you can say something like topic A in the first paragraph, and then your second paragraph could be somewhere in the topic F. So it's like a jumping around and jumbled around. So you don't want that to happen in your essay. And following the word or the page limit right away. So if it's your first draft and you are so fixated on, okay, so only 300 words, I want to say A, B, and C, but it won't fit. So I'm going to write A and C, right? And then you're missing B now, because then people will not get, oh, why is this connected, right? Because you are missing the middle part of that. So I want you to not think too much about the word limit or the page limit in the very first few drafts. Not saying that if the word limit is 500, then you can go over 1,500 words. No, but you have to be more lenient. So if the word limit is 500, you can go over like 600, 650 in total. So that's still manageable, that when you come in for review, I can help you to figure out, I don't think this part is necessary and this is a repetition, this and that, so that we can work on it. Okay. And during and after writing, if you're too focused on creating the perfect draft, like I said, draft is called draft for a reason. It shouldn't be perfect, because then it's not a draft if it's perfect, right? So don't focus on creating the perfect draft and wait until you make the perfect draft to come for review session, because then it will be way too late, or maybe you will not get a slot to do the essay review because it's so crowded when it's the deadline season. Worrying about this is not what I see or heard from the sample or videos. I've explained this before, and therefore lie about your own experience. That's the worst case scenario. So there are some people who actually fabricated their experience, or to, like to exaggerate on certain things so that it looks great in their essay. But when you read it from, even as a stranger, when you read it, you'll feel like, huh, did this really happen? Because it will feel really off if you cannot write in authenticity, meaning that if you write something that's really rigid, like, it's template, like you can Google it somewhere else, and plagiarism and everything like that, that is even a more serious offense to the admission officers, right? Or whoever's reading it, including me, even though you're submitting it to me for an input. But when I see someone copy pasting a phrase or anything that's not quoted or not referenced inside of the essay, I will be very, very upset. Like, I'm like, so, this looks really different from your style of writing that you copy pasted from somewhere else. And if it's a yes, I'm like, oh, don't forget to put a quote or reference it and everything, because if they run it through the plagiarism detection, and if it doesn't pass that, that's a big problem. Okay. To focus on creating hook right away. So I get this question so many times. If my first paragraph is interesting enough, um, how to create the hook, right? So that people will keep reading. It really depends on your experience and your style of writing. So there's no template to create the hook. And your topic is really, really subjective to the readers. If it's interesting enough, if it's, interesting enough for them to keep on reading. So you cannot actually control all of those things that you want everybody to keep reading your essay. But what you can do is to provide the things that only you can write, meaning that if you write something that's really unique to you in the first paragraph to hook the readers, most of the time it will work. But if you write something template like, my name is, I graduated here, blah, 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 something very generic that they can see almost anywhere, or out of like 100 or 1,000 applicants, if like half of them can write that opening sentence or that kind of sentences, then you're bound to be generic to them and less interesting, of course. I mean, if you're the first essay that they read, it's probably fine, right? Because they're not bored yet. But if you're like the 500th essay that they read on that day, then yeah, it's not interesting anymore, right? So it really depends on that. And I don't want you to keep on focusing on, creating hook and just making it so weird. In the sense like you want to say something that's already interesting, but because you force it to make it even more interesting, you put question mark everywhere. And I'm like, why do you need that many question marks? Because just because you want to create the hook, which I understand, but that's actually giving the reverse effect. Okay. Being impatient with yourself. Some people really need multiple revisions, and that is completely fine. So again, sometimes if you come to me with a very tight deadline, then this is probably not really applicable. But in most cases, a lot of my advice is if they already came in for the 5th revision and they're like, how many more times should I do this revision, right? And I'm like, it really depends on your next revision. So I'm not the type to put in, like if you go to certain place and then you need to buy the package, package of 5 sessions or 6 or 10, and then you have to pay for it. We don't have that here. So it's really case by case, and it's need based. So if you feel like you still need essay review, you're not confident yet, you can come in for another one. Okay. But if you feel confident already by the 2nd review, then it's fine. Okay. So I will follow whatever it is that makes you more comfortable and more confident. And that's our role here, is to support, not to force things on something that's not working for you. Okay. Last one is writing in Bahasa Indonesia and later translated. to English using any website or services. So this is totally not recommended, because if you know the flaws of these website or services, sometimes it's just very mixed up. Sometimes the Bahasa Indonesia still slipped in there. So you don't want to risk any of that and submit that to the admission. Okay. And I'm talking about, Google Translate, and I forgot the name. There's one really famous these days. Grammarly. There you go. It's not that they're bad. It's just if you follow all of the Grammarly's suggestions, you will sound like a robot. Trust me. Have you tried, like, writing one paragraph and then you use Calendly to correct it, and then you read it again? It sounds like Siri, like reading your essay. So yeah, you don't want that. And it's not recommended to do that because it sounds really um not human writing. Okay. And honestly speaking, I think the admission officers will be really, really understanding. If we're applying from an international student perspective, they're not going to expect you to have perfect grammar, perfect sentences, perfect English. That's not their expectations. And they need international students because you have your own field of expertise. So you don't want to just target to have perfect English and grammar, but you do not focus on the content and your qualifications and your experience. Okay. All right. So these are the examples of general or typical sentences that I mentioned to you. If you start with my name is, I was born in this and that, and then born and raised or living in Indonesia gave me multicultural experience. So the problem with the second bullet point is that being born and raised or live in Indonesia is not guaranteed to give you multicultural experience, right? It's not a guarantee. So if you put it there, just as easy as because you were born and raised in Indonesia, then you have that, it's not going to convince them. Okay. I earned my undergraduate degree in 2015, blah, blah, blah. And then in 2018, I became this and that. It's essentially reciting your CV or resume, which you will also submit. So I don't think you will need that. And honestly, it's a bit boring to read because it sounds like autobiography. Even autobiography probably won't put that many year number in the essay. And then generalization, like everyone will, or everyone is this, everyone is that, like everyone wants a good life. Like, yeah, of course. So it's too general. Okay. As a teacher, I want to teach. It's very self-explanatory, so you don't want to do that. And to be a programmer, I want to learn programming as well. Same problem here. Don't put something that's really self-explanatory, because then it shows you don't really have the deeper meaning or deeper level of understanding in that area. I am XYZ scholarship awardee, or being awarded XYZ scholarship to attend the this and that university. It's not that it's bad. It's good actually to show that, wow, you are, supported by your government and everything. But the way you put it in the sentence in the essay, if it's not connected, like out of nowhere, you're like, hi, my name is Santika and I got this and that scholarship. Where's the connection, right? How does this connect to the prompt or the question or the topic that you are trying to write there? So you need to keep that in mind. Of course, you can boast about you got full funding scholarship. That's really great. But most of the time, it's already in your application that they ask, how would you fund your studies? And if you can choose full funding scholarship and then you put LPDP or Fulbright or whatever, it's already there, right? So if you want to put it in the essay, you have to do it very smart by connecting it to your goal, connecting it to the school, why you choose the school, why you choose the program. Okay. And especially relatable if you just receive an LPDP. So congratulations for those who got LPDP. I have a few of my advisees, giving me good news. So congrats. And hopefully there are more of you out there and coming to Education USA soon. All right, I choose X university because my best friend is studying there. The problem with this is that it's not because you want it, but it's because it sounds like you are not there to study. It just sounds like, oh, you want to go there because your friend is there and it's your comfort zone and everything, which is not that competitive if we are comparing you who write that with, oh, I want to go to this university for this program because the laboratorium is really advanced and it has all of the things that I need to do this and that research. Who will you pick? Of course, the latter, right? So that's that. And examples of weak expressions or phrases that I usually highlight in your essay if you already came in for review session before. I believe, I wish, I want, if I have this, I can do this. If accepted in this program or US university, I will do this and that. I think these things are so overused and that you can replace them with something better, right? Maybe you can say aspire. Maybe you can write, my goal is to create or to solve or to collaborate so that blah, blah, blah. The target, or it's actually kind of vocabulary play or the word play that is really essential. So if you say, I wish, it's like, why you only wish for it, but you can study here and then do it, make it happen, right? So it's something like to create this visualization that you can do it for the admission committee. Okay. To create A, B, and C, I intend to, study or master this and that certain topics, subject, skills, or knowledge. By attending X program at Y university, I am taking the next step to reach my goal, blah, blah, blah. So these are examples. I don't want you to copy paste what I write here because this is like me 3 a.m. and typing this down. Okay. So don't count on it, but this is what I can come up with to replace those generic statements. Okay. All right. So last one, I think. Yep. Last one, time management. How much time do I have left? Yep. On time. All right. So time management. So I would recommend at least 3 months before your deadline, which is that's the bare minimum, right? But if you are watching this right now and you're panicking because it's not your time, you missed the time frame of 3 months left, that's fine. And if you can still find the essay review slots, feel free to. I'll do my best to help, or other advisors in Indonesia could help you too. And multitasking between completing other requirements. So why do you need this whole timeline and time management nailed in the very beginning of your planning? Is because you will be also taking care of the CV, right? And the transcript and letter of recommendations and other things that you need to submit on top of your essays. And we are talking about sometimes multiple essays to submit, right? With different prompts. And on top of that, if you're applying to multiple US universities, which is the second last bullet point there, that will require you to pay more attention to details. And then the deadline could be different. And you need to tailor some parts of the essay for that specific university. So you don't want to say, I choose X program at, for example, NYU, and then you submit it to University of Arizona, right? That's a definitely almost guaranteed that you will be rejected, because then they can tell you're just copy pasting things, right? So that's that. It will require you to pay more attention. They will have different deadlines. They will have different number of essay, types of essay, questions in the essay could be different that you need to tailor. Okay. And so drafts equals to revisions. So until you're confident enough to submit, meaning that of course it takes time, right? Sometimes you can get one essay review slots per week if you get lucky. Some of my advisees have to wait until 10 days, 2 weeks during the very crowded season like this. But I haven't checked my Calendly, so I will show you the Calendly later so that you don't have to worry about booking the sessions, right? Um, what else? You need more time to think deeper and then get new ideas and to put it on, your essay and get your review and then revise. And that's a cycle. Okay. And last point, Education USA free services, including essay review, will be very crowded, and that's generally October until February. That's the deadline. Some of them are October, November, December, January, February, some even on March and April. It really depends on your program. But yes, we get busier in these months. So if you cannot find the slot, you need to be very patient and come back to the QR link or the Calendly link that I provide. All right, so next we will have a Q&A and then in-person quick essay review. I will spend about 6 minutes per person. That's ideal, right? I think, or 10 minutes at most. Yeah, and one essay that you have to choose. So if you have statement of purpose and personal statement, you need to choose which one you want to review tonight. And then we can do the other essay on a later date. Okay. And I'm going to skip that one first. This is for all of you who are watching in Zoom. If you cannot come in person for the essay review, then you can go to this Calendly and book your session. But this is also for those of you who are attending in person. If you see in your cue card, that is a special QR code that I create just for the in-person audience today. If I cannot make it to your turn, to your number, your queue number, know that I have reserved a special time slot for you because I know I probably will not make it to all of you guys tonight. So I open up the Saturday slot. And so I apologize in advance if I don't have enough time for that. Okay. And for those of you who are watching us in Zoom, this is for you. Okay.